when she watched the 2024 debate, she thought President Biden was having a stroke. Not right now. Okay, Jill, not right now.
He acts like they didn't know. They knew. Is Jill Biden's book just one big giant screw you to the Democrat Party? I'm thinking so. My name is Kelly Jackson, and this is Still Not Canceled, where we question everything, especially the narrative. And this is a spicy one today. Let's just jump right into it. Okay, we're going to start with Charlemagne the God, who obviously has no issues with ego whatsoever. Charlemagne the God went off on former First Lady Jill Biden for lying to the American public about Joe Biden's health during the 2024 election. He awarded her the Breakfast Club's coveted Donkey of the Day award.
Literally, Donkey of the Day should go to Jill Biden, the Democratic Party, Biden's Inner Circle, the staff, the record label, the mother effing crew, and everybody who spent years telling Americans not to believe their own eyes. Okay, see, Jill Biden will be appearing on CBS News Sunday morning, I believe, this weekend, and she decided to tell us that when she watched the 2024 debate, she thought President Biden was having a stroke. Not right now. Okay, Jill, not right now. All right, inflation is through the roof. The price of gas and groceries is extremely high. Think about all the government workers who lost their jobs because of Doge. And be scared he might get deported. It's just too much going on right now.
It's not true.
For you to be confirming what so many of us already knew and said, but got crucified for it. Okay, now I'm letting you know right now, this isn't about aging. Okay, I'm not making fun of aging. Aging is human. Okay, health scares are human. This is about honesty. And Jill Biden and Democrats weren't honest. And that's one of the main reasons we are currently in the situation we are in right now. Okay, this is just another example of Democrats not doing what they needed to do from 2020 to 2024 in order to protect democracy. Oh, it's a long list.
So let me just remind you, when they say democracy, they really mean liberalism. They don't really mean democracy, because we have a republic, not really a pure democracy. But anyway, I digress.
Biden should have been a one-term president from the beginning. All right. They should have announced it as soon as he won. He was there for a good time, not a long time.
This is so aggravating because he acts like they didn't know. He acts like they didn't know. They knew. They knew. They were just leaning on her lies to go, see, she's his wife and she's saying he's fine. They chose to believe her. They're just mad now because she's bringing it back up right when things are kind of fractured in the Republican Party, and President Trump's numbers are not so great, and we're approaching the midterms. They're mad because she's bringing it all back up when we were just getting to the point where everybody was sort of forgetting about it. That's what's going on here. But let's go to this Jake Tapper of all guys, because on his show, and if I could find it, I would. I can't find it. But on his CNN show, he interviewed Laura Trump. And she tried to say, he's got mental decline. He's mentally declining. This is not a tired guy. He's mentally declining. And Jake Tapper tore her a new one. But let's look at what Jake Tapper says here.
Now she tells us. That's the response from lots of Democrats to former First Lady Jill Biden finally admitting that her husband's debate performance in June 2024 was so bad that, in her words, she at the time was frightened that President Biden was having a stroke on stage. She made the admission in an interview with CBS News in which she is promoting her new book.
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
I should also disclose that I was one of the two moderators at the debate. And after it, she and the president walked over to the table, and they didn't act as if anything significant had just happened at all. They made polite chit chat. She certainly didn't act like somebody who was worried that her husband had just had a stroke. The Atlantic magazine also got some excerpts of the book, and here they are. Quote, "Is he short-circuiting?" Jill Biden thought. "Is this a stroke? I felt like we were watching an AI hologram of the man we knew, and the hologram was glitching. Has he been drugged?"
It kind of makes you wonder why she would say that, because everybody kind of made the presumption, and this has never ever been something we've known for sure, just rumors that they were pumping Joe Biden full of all kinds of medications in order to keep him in a state of lucidity so he could have this debate at night. Because as we all know, people with dementia struggle in the evening. They do the sundowning thing and they sort of unravel as the evening gets later and later. So it's interesting that she says, was he drugged? Like she didn't know. Like she's going to make some announcement about what was done to him and she had no idea. And it just kind of makes you wonder.
Still don't know what happened. Why wasn't he making any sense? It was inexplicable to me. And obviously all of this is quite a contrast with how everybody in the Biden team acted immediately after the debate.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
He had a cold and a bad night. I would not see this as an episode.
Now, the reaction to this news from the former First Lady this week, from former Biden administration alumni, well, it's not that kind. One senior administration official told me, quote, "That's quite an untimely revelation. She should have said it at the time because that fear reveals immediate concerns about his well-being, his health fragility, and his vulnerability, and brings into question his fitness for continued office." Other former Biden alumni were quite skeptical of the First Lady's claim that she had never seen him before or since quite like that. One thing I guess everybody can agree on is this excerpt from the book. She writes that after the debate, the president whispered to his wife, "I really f***ed up, didn't I?" "Yes, you did," I whispered back.
So one last clip here, which I find really interesting, is sort of just brings home my assumption that they're all pissed at her. This is a big flip in the bird from Jill Biden, who loved being the first lady. This is the opposite of Michelle Obama. This is a woman who thoroughly enjoyed being the first lady and having all the power. I don't know how many of you all know, but Woodrow Wilson was president. He had a similar episode where he was incapacitated, like in bed, incapacitated, in a coma or something. And his wife essentially ran the government while he was just completely out. And that was Jill Biden. That was what Jill Biden was doing. And she was enjoying herself. She was looking at binders and conducting meetings. It was as though she were president, even though nobody voted for her. So let's look at this last clip from the 5. And Greg Gutfeld really, he really gives it to Jessica Tarloff, which she, most of the time, she sort of deserves it. Here's what it says is, Greg Gutfeld torches Jessica Tarloff after she complains Jill Biden is hurting Dems by reminding Americans about Biden's decline. You guys used him as well, we'll hear what Greg says, but it's like you use the guy as a weapon, and now you're mad that his wife is bringing this up. Now you're mad.
What makes this very difficult is it's such an unfair test of elected Democrats, people who work in Washington, rank and file Democrats, people who donate, who care about these election results, because we've already gone through it, right? Went through the 2024 loss, seen all the autopsies now, trying to move on, thinking about who are the candidates best positioned to win these elections, moving past having to talk about sundowning, well, at least for Joe Biden, we can talk about it for Trump. And then this is back for no reason. He falls asleep all the time. Do not laugh.
You're calling Trump sundowning? That is rich. People know what that
I know
means.
you don't
That
care.
is a symptom of Alzheimer's. Just to be
It's just
clear,
old.
it's like
I'm not that kind of doctor. And Jill Biden isn't that kind of doctor either.
The fact that she's pointing out that she's a doctor is just so pretentious.
Anyway, it feels unfair, essentially, at this point, to the party that if you want to cement any piece of your husband's legacy, let people move on from this and win some more elections. And then they can point to things and say, like, we're building on the successes that we saw under the Biden administration. That's why we're adding X, Y, or Z thing.
You guys used him as a Trojan horse, and now you're paying for it.
And
He was an
everyone
empty
should eat
white
maggot
male,
food. I
an
know.
old, empty white male. You foisted on the American public to trick them into thinking they were going to get a moderate president. Instead, you had an empty shell of a demented man who implemented tons of radical BS, and now you're paying the price. I don't sympathize.
You've made that clear in every segment.
She brought it back. She brought it back. And this is just the first excerpt.
Exactly. It's just the first excerpt. I'm just telling you, I am telling you, this is a big, giant FU from Jill Biden to the Democrat Party because they're mad, they're mad. She's mad that they've pushed him aside because she had plans. She fully intended to go through that second term and just run things the way she had pretty much the last half of his first term. And she's mad that they brought the cane out and they pulled her off the stage. She's mad. I mean, think about it. This is the most inopportune moment to possibly publish a book heading into the midterms when the Democrats are fighting tooth, nail, and claw to try and win the House back. And they were really benefiting from the fact that the Republicans are fractured. As I stated before, President Trump's approval numbers they could be better. This stuff going on in Iran, I mean, we practically have a circular firing situation in our own party because you've got the Candaces and the Tuckers on one side, you've got MAGA on the other side, and then TPUSA somewhere in there. This whole thing that has happened in the last 6 months to the Republican Party, the Democrats were benefiting from it because we were all focused on that. And we had practically forgotten about what a zombie Joe Biden was. And this book is bringing that all back up. And it's going to cause the Democrats problems, not just maybe in the midterms, but in 2028 too. Because they've got their eyes on the prize, on the big prize of the White House, and they haven't decided who they're running yet. And we know Kamala Harris wants to do it. This really messes her up because it reminds everybody what a show it was in 2024. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up to you. I thought it was an interesting point that Jill Biden is mad, and this book is her weapon. She's planning to beat the Democrat Party over the head until they're bloody with it, apparently. And this is just the first excerpt. So it should be an interesting summer, I think. Thanks so much, everybody. My name is Kelly Jackson. We are still not canceled here. And my goal, my mission in life is we question everything, especially the narrative. And we're making sense of this crazy, crazy world. And I'm so glad that you're coming along for the ride. Like and subscribe if you want more analysis and discussion about all these things that we really care about. So love you. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.